Install Cloudbot on Ubuntu 22.04 VPS, step by step. You're about to stand up a personal AI assistant on a small, affordable server. This beginner's guide shows how to provision an Ubuntu 22.04 VPS, install Node.js 22, add a swap file for stability, and use the Clawdbot CLI to onboard and run a persistent gateway service. We'll keep commands short and verification steps clear so you can copy, paste, and confirm each milestone. What you'll end up with: a Cloudbot gateway running as a systemd user service, connected to at least one LLM provider and one messaging channel, with basic firewall rules and simple update procedures. Before you start, an Ubuntu 22.04 VPS with 2 GB RAM recommended and 40 GB NVMe disk. SSH access from your computer and a terminal. One LLM API key and one messaging channel token, for example, a Telegram bot token. Cloudbot's official guidance requires modern Node.js. According to the gateway install pages, Node.js 22 or newer is the supported runtime for both the gateway and CLI. See the installation overview in the Cloudbot docs under the page titled Install and the Linux platform notes for version specifics. Provision your VPS on SurferCloud. Disclosure: SurferCloud is our product. Get started. https://www.surfercloud.com/promos/ulighthost. Use a 2 GB RAM plan so installs and updates complete reliably. You can browse current plans on the ulighthost page where the 1 vCPU, 2 GB RAM, 40 GB NVMe tier is shown. Order your server on the ulighthost promo page, see the plan grid and pick the 2 GB RAM configuration shown on the page titled ulighthost. Image: Ubuntu 22.04 LTS. Networking: keep the default dedicated IPv4. Port 25 is blocked by default on promo plans. If you need help with payment methods or account setup, reach out via the SurferCloud contact page for assistance and billing guidance. When the server is ready, note the public IP and the default Ubuntu username. On many cloud images, the user is Ubuntu for Ubuntu 22.04. If your panel specifies a different username, use that. Connect with SSH and prepare Ubuntu. From your local machine, connect to the VPS. Replace 203.0.113.10 with your server IP. Update system packages and install a few essentials. These tools help with builds, TLS, and diagnostics. Optional but helpful: set your time zone and verify free disk space. Install Node.js 22 on Ubuntu 22.04. Cloudbot requires Node.js 22 or newer. The Node source repository is a straightforward way to get current Node on Ubuntu 22.04. For background and supported commands, see the Node source distributions README. You should see a Node version starting with v22 and a recent npm. If Node prints an older version, repeat the steps and ensure there were no errors. If you prefer to validate requirements and onboarding flow, consult the Cloudbot documentation's install and Linux platform sections. Add a small swap file on 2 GB RAM. On a 2 GB VPS, a modest swap file reduces the chance of out-of-memory kills during package installs or when Cloudbot loads dependencies. The standard Ubuntu swap file procedure below is commonly used. For more background, consult Ubuntu's community documentation on swap configuration. Verify that swap is active. You should see swap with approximately 2.0 G total. If not, rerun the commands and check /etc/stab for the swap entry. Install Cloudbot on Ubuntu 22.04 VPS. Now you'll install the Cloudbot CLI globally, run the onboarding wizard, and install a persistent service. The official Cloudbot install and wizard pages describe this flow, including what the onboarding wizard configures. Install the CLI. Run the onboarding wizard and install the user-level systemd service for the gateway. The wizard will prompt you to authenticate or initialize a local profile. Add at least one LLM provider key, for example, OpenAI or Anthropic. Add a messaging channel, such as a Telegram bot token, create one via botfather, see the Telegram bot API docs. When onboarding completes, the gateway service is installed under your user account. Keep the service running after logout. On Linux, user services stop when you log out unless lingering is enabled. Turn it on and check the service status. You should see active, running. If it's not running, inspect logs. Cloudbot also includes health and status commands. They provide quick diagnostics. Look for lines like gateway reachable and a local probe URL such as ws//127.0.0.1:18789. Secure the instance and expose only what you need. Keep the gateway bound to localhost unless you specifically need remote access or webhooks. For basic protection, configure UFW to allow SSH and otherwise deny inbound traffic. If you must expose a webhook or an admin endpoint on a domain, consider using Jinx as a reverse proxy with TLS via certbot. Example sketch with a domain of example.com. Paste a minimal proxy and adjust the upstream port to match your gateway's binding. Keep it on 127.0.0.1. Enable the site and obtain a certificate. If you don't need public access, skip Jinx entirely and rely on local binding with UFW protecting the host. Monitor, update, and backup. A few basics keep things smooth on a small VPS. Monitor resources briefly after first run. Update Cloudbot to the latest release and restart the gateway. Backup config and consider snapshots before major updates. If you've set a custom state directory, back it up, or take a VPS snapshot from your provider's panel. Troubleshooting quick fixes. Node version mismatch. If Clawdbot errors on startup, verify Node version prints v22.x. Reinstall Node via the Node source steps and rerun npm install Clawdbot at latest. Service not staying up. Ensure lingering is enabled with sudo logictool enable linger $USER. Check system tool user status and journal tool logs for specific errors. Out of memory during installs, add a 2 to 4 GB swap file and retry. Close other processes, consider upgrading RAM if the workload grows. Port or firewall issues, keep the gateway on 127.0.0.1 unless you know you need external access. If you must expose a port, allow it explicitly with UFW and confirm bindings with SS, LTNP. Channel or provider credentials, rerun the onboarding to fix tokens, or use the CLI to inspect channels. Telegram tokens come from botfather, double-check that your bot is added to the intended chat or group. What's next? You now have a working Clawdbot gateway on a small Ubuntu 22.04 VPS, with a stable Node.js 22 runtime, swap for resilience, and a persistent systemd user service. Add more channels, wire up additional providers, or script non-interactive onboarding for repeatable setups using the flags described in the Cloudbot documentation. If you'd like help choosing a plan, payment options, or migrating to a larger instance, contact the team through the SurferCloud contact page. Selected references for deeper reading. Cloudbot installation and getting started. Consult the pages titled Install and Getting Started in the official Cloudbot docs, https://docs.clawd.bot/install and https://docs.clawd.bot/start/getting-started. Cloudbot Linux Platform and Gateway CLI, see https://docs.clawd.bot/platform/linux and https://docs.clawd.bot/CLI/gateway. Node.js 22 on Ubuntu 22.04 via NodeSource, https://github.com/nodesource/distributions/blob/master/dv_readme. MD. Ubuntu Firewall Basics with UFW, https://documentation.ubuntu.com/server/how-to/security/firewalls. Certbot with Jinx on Ubuntu, https://certbot.eff.org/instructions. Telegram bot API and bot tokens, https://core.telegram.org/bot/API. SurferCloud ULiteHost promo page, https://www.surfercloud.com/promos/ULiteHost. SurferCloud contact page, https://www.surfercloud.com/contact.